In this video, we are going to show you how a local Dallas hydroponic farm is helping to feed people in food deserts.
Welcome back to our channel. I'm Dr. Riz.
And I'm Maya. Did you know that Dallas has a large population of people living in food deserts?
A food desert is an impoverished area where residents lack access to healthy foods. Food deserts may exist in rural or urban areas and are associated with complex geographic and socioeconomic factors, as well as poor diet and health disorders, such as obesity. The food deserts in South Dallas and Southeast Dallas not only deal with limited access to healthy foods, but the residents also have many health conditions which make people more susceptible to the coronavirus. We often hear plant-based physicians like Dr. Michael Greger emphasizing the importance of consuming green leafy vegetables on a regular basis. Foods such as microgreens can help boost our immune system while offering many other benefits.
In 2016, the Texas State Fair set up Big Tex Urban Farms, located right there in the middle of these food deserts. And today, this local farm uses hydroponics and innovative technology to produce a large amount of food. 100% of it is donated to the community. And in 2019, they donated over 20,000 pounds of food. And even during this coronavirus crisis, the urban farm continues to feed its community. Let's meet Drew Demler. He's the director of this program. And make sure to stick around till the end of the video so that you can learn more about Dr. Riz's hydroponics system.
I'm Drew Demler, so I'm the director of horticulture for the Great State Fair, Texas. And the biggest part of my role anymore is as the head of this project we call the Big Tex Urban Farms. And this greenhouse, Errol McCoy greenhouse on the Midway, is sort of the home base to the farm now. We started out in 2016 growing outdoors, and then we kind of backdoored our way into growing using what we call hydroponics, where we're using water and nutrients instead of soil. Our goal with the farm was to get healthy vegetables into what's considered one of the worst food deserts in the United States. And we realized once we were able to start growing these veggies that we could just greatly expand our output, so we chose to go in this direction. Where we actually donate 100% of the produce that we grow. It's a food desert. We classify it a food desert, food swamp, whatever you want to call it. Area where there's a lot of bad eating habits, nutrients, poor health, limited access to produce, and that's actually what our project was started for.
So you're growing these nutrient-rich vegetables, which
Yes.
are the healthiest thing on the planet, and you're donating to help people get healthier.
So we're working with 6 different groups. Yesterday we went to a place called the Juanita Craft Rec Center. It's funded by Baylor Scott and White. It's about a mile down the street, and they have an amazing program. Every Tuesday and Friday now, we do a market stand over there with our vegetables, and all of it is free for the local community.
Wow.
And it's become a place where people know now in that neighborhood that, yeah, every Tuesday and Friday we can go get our collard greens, we can get our cucumbers, we can get our salad fixings. And little by little, man, over the last couple of years, we're getting more and more feedback from their patients and from their shoppers that this is changing their health. I think the appearance and just the freshness of it and knowing that it's locally grown just has a different impact on people. And I think it makes people become more interested in eating this way and eating healthier.
What are some of the other groups that you're working with?
Okay, so the Juanita Craft, the Baylor Scott and White Health and Wellness Institute, Parkland's Health Clinic on 2nd Avenue, Jubilee Park, which is close by, City Square, where they have a culinary program, a food pantry. They work with homeless. Bonton Farms, their urban farm, which is another amazing group right down the street. We work with them through their new cafe. Down in Oak Cliff, the Oak Cliff Veggie Project, some of my favorite people in the world down there. They do amazing work. We work with them. Family Joint Ventures, Another group that does a lot in southern Dallas towards feeding children. They actually work with a lot of kids.
It's amazing stuff you guys are doing. I mean,
Thank you.
growing this stuff and getting healthy food to the people who need it.
We're helping other people start gardens, community gardens in the area, trying to help empower people towards learning about this stuff. And we teach cooking classes over at the Wellness Institute. I'm about to start doing some at Jubilee Park. I love to share some of my favorite salad recipes with people, and it's been amazing. I mean, I had no idea what I was getting into when we started this thing in 2016 and what all it was going to become.
So what do you think so far about the work that Drew is doing with the community? Are you impressed?
I'm very impressed. Are you in a food desert, or do you know anyone in a food desert? And how do you get your produce? Do you have to drive a long distance just to get to a grocery store? Let us know in the comments below.
So how exactly does hydroponics work? Well, let's take a tour of the Big Tex Urban Farm.
So this is called a grow rack. It's a really cool piece of technology. You'll see there are these different shelving units with these LED lights. And this system is how we start all of our baby plants. And these seeds were planted, I think these were planted out on Monday. So they're right around a week old at this point. Each one of these sheets holds 200 plants. So 200 baby seedlings. We're typically going to have them live here for 14 to 17 days, and then they're going to be ready to be transplanted into whatever system they're going into.
Built in 2017, this deep water culture pond can hold up to 288 heads of produce. Currently, it is holding 3 varieties of lettuce and collard greens. This large pond is filled with water and the appropriate nutrients. The water is then cycled through an intricate plumbing system which adds much needed oxygen to the plants. The plants, which were initially grown from a seed inside of a rockwool cube, are then placed on top of a floating styrofoam raft, and then they simply float in the water.
Let me show you what we're looking at here.
Look at that. Yeah.
So you can see those beautiful root systems, right? Because they're growing indoors and because they're growing in water, they don't do what's called hardening off. So you don't have to cook my product. You can take these leaves here and roll them up and chiffonade them and serve them raw on a salad. These are tender enough on their own.
Well, and I will attest to the fact that he gave me a baby collard green, and I'm not a big collard green fan, and it tasted great. And then he gave me a tomato, which was amazing as well.
Amazing, right?
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Freshest tomato, right from the vine to my mouth.
This one's a little bit bigger, so we actually get about 396 units per week.
Nearly 400.
So,
and it looks like they're staggered, kind of staggered maturity.
Exactly. So we float from the youngest, most immature at the back to the bigger, more full size towards the front. So when we harvest, we'll typically harvest a whole row at a time, package it up, wind the roots up. These rafts will get cleaned and sterilized. Then they're replanted. Everything moves forward, and then we'll plant the new rafts out on that back row.
That's when you take the mature seedlings and you bring them in and put them in.
Exactly. And these things that look like rose petals, these really pretty heads right there, that is a butterhead lettuce.
Beautiful, isn't it?
This is a red oak leaf lettuce. This frilly guy right here is what you call a summer crisp. It's a summer crisp variety of lettuce. It's really crunchy. It does really well throughout the heat of the summertime, and they just get huge. You'll notice these LED lights. These are real important to us. Really important to any indoor grower, but especially for this greenhouse, because as I mentioned before, this is really designed to grow ornamentals. Our light transmission levels are not ideal, and that was done very intentionally. We wanted to be able to keep this building cool for fair goers and for guests, but we can use these LED lights, which mimic the sunlight, and we're able to grow whatever we want in this building now. And they're very low electricity use. We'll actually keep them on the same hours that the sun is out, and then we'll have them cut off usually around 6 in the evening. In the case of our vines, which we'll talk about next, they really want a lot of light. We'll let them go sometimes 15, 16 hours a day.
All right. Okay, well, what's next?
Let's take a look at these systems over here. This system is called a Dutch bucket system. You can do almost anything you want to in them, and what they're intended for is for growing what we call vine crops or fruiting vegetables. So we do tomatoes. These are bell peppers. These are your cucumbers here. They're still young. They're still babies. We just got through planting these. And then we also do tomatoes in these too. These work a little different, whereas in the floating raft systems, the plants are submerged, the roots are in the water all the time. And these, they're fed through a drip irrigation system. So if you follow all the way down to the end of the row there, that wooden box, that's my reservoir. So that's where our water lives. Again, that's where the nutrients, we add the proper nutrients, which are a little bit different for vines. And then we have our irrigation system programmed to a timer. And it's just a very, very simple down and dirty irrigation system. So it feeds through this main line. And then these are 1 gallon an hour drippers, okay? This is called perlite. Perlite's a really good hydroponic medium. It's another product like the rock wool that's made out of a rock. It's very porous, so it allows really good drainage and it allows really good oxygen penetration to the root zone.
So it gets about a gallon an hour?
About a gallon an hour.
And where's the water going?
So that's the other part that I love about these systems. The buckets sit on top of this white pipe right there, and there's a hole drilled in the bottom. You can see there's the outlet hole. This is called the return line. So the way this system works, the water is gonna pass through the bucket. The roots are gonna drink up all of the water that they need, and the extra water goes down to the return line, and the return line takes it all the way back just using gravity to our reservoir. So that way we're not wasting a drop of water.
The lights are actually fairly high. They're not as close as I would think.
They're not as close, and there's a reason for that. In a matter of weeks, these guys are going to grow all the way up close, very close to those lights. So you see, I've got these cucumber vines trellised. And eventually the bells will be on a trellis system also.
Okay.
But in a matter of a week or two, they're going to be all the way up close to that light, and we're actually going to have to lean and lower these vines. So when they get up to the top of the trellis, we unwind it off of the top of that reel, and that's going to lower the vine down about a foot, and we'll slide each vine to the side. And when we do that, the one behind it will take its place. When they reach all the way to the end of the trellis, we'll literally unhook them and put them on that line, and then they go back that direction. So you have this constant circular flow.
I tell people to eat 4, 5, 6 servings of green leafy vegetables a day. It's great for your arterial health.
No doubt, right?
So I've grown to love green leafy vegetables. You know, and I think helping people learn and teaching them to grow themselves, once you do that, there's some sense of pride, and they also want to grow it, they want to eat it. So I see that you have these little towers here.
Yeah, man, let's go talk about those for a sec. This is something that when people come in and they visit with us and they say, I want to go home and get into hydroponics, what can I do? I don't have space for a big pond like that. This is one system that makes it very, very easy. It's called a tower garden. It comes as a kit. It's like putting together IKEA furniture. You just slap the thing together. At the bottom here, this is where the water lives, and this is where you add your nutrients. And it's again, it's got a small pump that sits at the bottom of this, and hooked to a timer. Starting to sound familiar, right?
Right.
And it pumps the water to the top of this this barrel, and it slowly but surely rains down, and it hits all of the grow spots. So these are butterhead lettuces. These have only been in for a couple of days. The rock wool cube literally just sits right on top of these little plastic hooks, and then you just stab it down onto the grow spot. These are actually LED grow lights, and this allows you to be able to do this anywhere you want.
I would also love to see your tomatoes.
Let's go take a look at these tomatoes.
You fed me one earlier. Maybe I'm hoping to get another sample.
Hey, we can do that. Yes, sir.
Here we see Drew pointing out that the tomato vines have been lowered and leaned as he had previously pointed out. The tomatoes also use a Dutch bucket system, but slightly modified. Those buckets sit on top of the reservoir. So basically the stand is the reservoir. And when this system is in full production, the reservoir can water up to 5 full rows of tomatoes. The tomatoes can be picked at their fully mature stage because the same day that they are picked, they end up in someone else's home. And this is one advantage to consuming locally grown produce.
I really want to thank you. This has been just fascinating. I've had a great time out here. I'm like a kid in a candy store.
I love that.
The fact that I've started my own hydroponic farm. It's 2 square feet, but it's my
phenomenal.
farm.
That's phenomenal.
It's a little smaller than yours, but I'm excited to see what we can produce. People need to know what you're doing, so we want to get the word out.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I really appreciate it. It was an honor to have y'all here.
What an amazing tour of the Big Tex Urban Farm.
If you're interested in growing your own greens, tomatoes, peppers, and microgreens, make sure to subscribe. We have just completed a series of hydroponics videos for beginners by a beginner that will be available on our YouTube channel. We live in a small space and have been able to grow and harvest our own produce. We will share our system and what we have learned along the way.
Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and look out for the next video on how to get started on your own hydroponic system.
Don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe.
Hit that notification button.